Hello,
Hello.
and welcome to Once More Unhinged, our weekly chat show where we get together to discuss whatever we're reading, watching, listening to, or engaging with this week. I'm Jen Katz.
I'm Ryan something.
Hello, Ryan Something.
Hello, Jen Katz.
How are you today?
I'm fine and dandy today. The sun is shining.
It sure is.
It's hot.
Did you park your dragon somewhere?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Oh, good God. Well, also happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month. Speaking of parking dragons.
What?
There is a great scene.
Oh my God.
There is a great scene in Pete's Dragon, the Disney film from 1970
Something.
when the two bad guys are downtown Passamaquoddy. And
Say that again.
And there's rumor of a dragon. Someone asked Doc Terminus if they've ever seen a dragon before in real life, and he says, I see them in all the big cities going down the streets with that funny little walk, wearing their bright colors fluttering around. This is Disney. This is 1977.
I have seen Pete's Dragon, but it's been so long I don't remember any of that.
Pete's Dragon was the first dragon movie that I got into.
Really?
Love Pete's Dragon. We will be rewatching Pete's Dragon. Perhaps.
Maybe.
I'll
tell you the first dragon movie I got into.
Pete's Dragon has Helen Reddy. Stars Helen Reddy, who sings Candle on the Water. Did you never hear the song Candle on the Water as a kid? Oh, no. Jenny, breaks my heart. I'll be your candle on the water. My love for you will always burn.
Was that in Pete's Dragon? Yeah. No.
Don't give up. You'll have some place to turn.
Never heard of her.
Anyway, it's a beautiful... Helen Reddy sang I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar.
I have heard of her.
Helen Reddy.
Yes.
You've heard of her. We're talking about dragons.
We are. House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragons. Anyway, Pete's Dragon was my first dragon and my favorite dragon.
I don't know what my first one... It might have been the dragon when Maleficent turns herself into a dragon in Sleeping Beauty.
That was a scary dragon.
That movie's kind of scary.
It is. It's a bit...
it's dark.
It's a bit dark for young kids, but most fairy tales are dark.
That's true.
Honey,
yes.
What are we obsessed with this week?
So glad you asked. House of the Dragon season 2 is coming out on June 16th, and we are so excited. And we thought it would be kind of fun to do an episode before the premiere of season 2, where we discuss what we loved about season 1, discuss Game of Thrones, the show, book lore, all that. But before we get into it,
okay,
hit us with a spoiler warning.
On today's episode, we will be discussing anything and everything related to the first season of House of the Dragon, the 8 seasons of Game of Thrones.
God, that seems like so many.
And anything within the George R.R. Martin books.
There you go. There will be more spoilers than times Targaryens married family members. You've been warned. Okay. So, House of the Dragon is the prequel to the popular HBO series Game of Thrones.
That's right.
It's based on George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood, which is this book right here, and tells the story of the Targaryen civil war with King Viserys I's children, Rhaenyra, his eldest child, and a girl, and Aegon, his eldest male son with a different wife. And they're battling for control of the Iron Throne. The first season of the show ends with the death of Viserys, and then 2 factions, the Blacks and the Greens, each bent on doing whatever needs to be done to secure the crown. So, yeah. Oh, and everybody in this show has dragons, which is very exciting.
Lots of dragons in this prequel versus the Game of Thrones series where we only saw Dany's 3 dragons.
Right.
And then we saw some dragon bones. We saw some ancient relics of dragons.
Yeah.
I guess these dragons.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't really get to see Dany's dragons do a whole lot to like the last seasons, and then
where they just burn it all down.
Well, the Drogon does, but then doesn't one of them get taken out by?
Yeah,
the Night King takes over one.
By the spear, right?
And another one gets a crossbow. I can't remember. Yeah. We've blocked out a lot of the last season of Game of Thrones because it was
tough. People are screaming at us right now.
It was terrible. That's a whole other.
House of Dragon's been off the air for a bit.
It has, yeah. When God, has it been 2 years? Is that what we figured out?
Yeah, I think so. I think fans have been chomping at the bit to get back into the Westeros world.
Yes. And a little bit of background, I'm a big Game of Thrones fan. I read the books. Oh, wait, sorry. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yes, okay.
If you or a loved one suffer from anxiety,
Press 1 now. But don't call me because I'm too nervous to talk to you. Okay.
tune in every Wednesday where we make it worse.
Okay.
Okay.
So this show premiered, I think, in 2022.
Okay.
And we watched it together with a group of friends. And it was an intense first episode.
It was an intense season.
It wasn't, yes, but they set the tone immediately.
This was the birth episode.
Yes. Oof. So the first episode, we meet Viserys Targaryen and his pregnant wife Emma and their teenage daughter Rhaenyra, played by the amazing Millie Alcock. She did such a phenomenal job as young Rhaenyra.
And he did such a fantastic job as the king.
Paddy Constantine.
Wow. I mean,
he's so good.
Nailed it.
He's great. And I'm like, I want to see that actor in more things.
I do too.
Put him in another starring role. He was phenomenal as Viserys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Would love to have
my favorite king on in the series in this world so far.
Yeah, because who else did we see? We saw Robert Baratheon, which
he was just
schmuck.
a bros bro.
Then Joffrey, which psychopath. Yeah, and then Tommen, useless. Yeah. Does anyone become king after Tommen, or is that one is just a power vacuum for a minute? Does Cersei kind of crown herself queen?
Cersei, yes. Cersei obliterates everyone and crowns herself queen, and which Daenerys was my favorite episode of Game of Thrones.
Oh gosh, yeah.
When the cathedral comes down.
Oh yeah, that's
the dragon fire.
Oh yeah, and Tommen throws himself out the window.
He does.
That was a traumatic episode.
I mean, what a show opener. That 5-minute segment with the music that doesn't stop, and it's basically just this slow burn, quite literally, until this moment where Cersei just destroys everyone and enjoys it, sipping her wine.
She's always swirling wine
from the Red Keep.
I know.
She's always swirling and squirreling.
Lena Headey was phenomenal in that role too.
But we're not here to talk about Game of Thrones. We're here to talk about the House of the Dragon.
Yes, but a little background, I guess, before we get into that more. When we're in Game of Thrones, like you mentioned, there's no more magic in the world. There's no dragons. The Targaryens have been basically eliminated. There's one left, and she hatches dragons. The whole thing. We're almost 200 years before this in House of the Dragon.
Targaryens are the house.
They're the rulers of Westeros. They are dragon riders. They have white hair. They usually marry. They marry within their families. Some of that's broken up. I mean, Viserys is married to Emma Arryn, who is his cousin. So not a sister, so that's good.
Kissing cousins, as my Nana would call them.
We're doing more than kissing. And
most cousins in the South.
Not me. I don't know what you're doing with your cousins, buddy. Okay, so the Targaryens are at the peak of their power. Right. Things have changed. The dragons are becoming smaller. There's not as many eggs being laid. Not as bad as it will get, but they're the ruling house. And King Viserys won his crown after a big vote. We see that at the very beginning. I don't know if you remember that scene. They're all right. There's the king Jaehaerys the conciliator, Jaehaerys the good. He was the good guy. He was choosing his heir because he was old. He was the oldest king to ever live. And Viserys was chosen over his elder cousin, who's a female, Rhaenys. We meet her.
We do?
Yeah. So Viserys gets the throne because by this point, there's so many Targaryens. Like we said, they're at the height of their power and their family. Good King Jaehaerys is old and he's about to die. They hold a big council vote to see who's going to be his heir because his children have died. So it's basically between the children of his children.
Right.
And Viserys, again, played by Paddy Constantine is amazing. He's chosen over his elder female cousin, Rhaenys, played by Eve Best.
Eve Best is incredible actress.
She's amazing. And she is known as the queen who never was. It's a bummer, man.
It's like Anne.
The patriarchy. I know.
It's
Anne.
like Princess Anne, the queen that never was.
We are Anne stans in this podcast.
Princess Anne, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the podcast.
Could you imagine? She would never, but it'd be amazing.
Would die. My kingdom for my queen.
Love it. That's for you. Okay.
Great.
So Viserys, his wife, who's pregnant at the start of the series, and his eldest daughter, who's known as the Realm's Delight. She's going to be the next queen of Westeros unless her mother gives birth to a boy. It's still the patriarchy in Westeros, folks. It's always the eldest male heir.
Okay.
So episode 1, we meet Rhaenyra, played by Millie Alcock, who's best friends with Alicent Hightower, played by Emily Carey. And Alicent's father is Otto Hightower, played by Rhys Ifans. I'm sorry, I'm butchering his last name. And he's a schemer. He does not like Rhaenyra, does not want Rhaenyra to inherit. He's hoping that Queen Aemma will have a boy.
Right.
And Queen Aemma does have a boy, but the boy dies, as does she. It's very visceral. So trigger warning, we're going to discuss quickly, though, like a childbirth scene that ends in death. So if you don't want to hear that, which is understandable, skip ahead a little bit. So yeah, I mean, they show this scene of she's giving birth. It's obviously not going well. The maesters come up to King Viserys and they're like, hey,
you get to choose.
You have to choose. And he chooses the child. So she dies. The boy lives for a few days when he dies.
Mm-hmm.
So
he spirals.
He spirals. And then his rascally younger brother comes back into the fray. Daemon Targaryen.
Played by Matt Smith.
Oh, played to perfection.
Doctor Who.
Daemon is, as my friend and I like to say, our problematic fave. If you guys listen to Once More, a rewatch podcast, which I hope you are, you know I'm a big Spike gal.
He's very spiky.
He's very Spike coated, and he's even down to the bleach blonde hair. He's a bad boy.
He is.
And
well, so's his cousin. Aemon.
Oh, that's his nephew. Fuck.
They're probably both nephews and cousins.
His relative.
So's his other relative, who's Aemon, who is
Aemon One Eye.
Aemon One Eye, who lost his eye to his cousin.
He did.
Who is the prince.
Yeah.
We
need
the
a
sons.
chart.
Yeah, get ready for a cork board.
Yeah, shit.
Okay, so what happened at the end of last season and what's going on in this season?
Okay, so since there is no male heir, and the queen dies, first season, King Viserys marries again. He marries Alicent, who is Rhaenyra's best friend, and he goes on to have 3 children with her, of Aegon, Aemond, and Helena, and becomes a big issue, right? Who's going to inherit? Because Rhaenyra is the eldest,
right?
But Aegon is a boy,
right? So here we have the drama.
Yes.
Will it be the male heir or will it be the true heir? Which, as we know, Princess Rhaenyra was also
Rhaenys.
Princess Rhaenys also was skipped over.
Yes, and that's the big push and pull for the first half of actually, from the majority of the first season.
Sure.
Yeah.
And even through Game of Thrones, the original series, it's like, oh, well, can we have a...
Yeah. Can a woman lead us?
Can a woman lead us?
Yeah.
Guess what?
They can. Well,
the future
spoiler alert. Folks. Queen Daenerys, they fuck up her character and she kills everybody. And then Jon Snow kills her for no goddamn reason.
And the White Walkers were not a threat.
They were fucking pointless. Okay. So there's a time jump, which I think is great casting. Young Rhaenyra and young Alicent are great. And then we skip ahead to where they are played by Olivia Cooke as Alicent Hightower and Emma Darcy as Rhaenyra.
Stunning.
Who's stunning? Oh, yeah. That is my Roman Empire. That interview is my Roman Empire.
What's your drink of choice?
What's your drink of choice? A Negroni. Oh, yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Go check out our Unhinged content, our interview.
Yes,
our interview stitch.
We do a lovely rendition of Emma Darcy's and Olivia Cook's
a stunning
interview. Yes.
Rendition. Okay.
Okay. So we jump ahead. And by this point, like I mentioned, Alicent has had 3 children with Viserys, and Rhaenyra has had 3 children as well. So she's had 3 children, Jacaerys, Lucerys, and Joffrey. This is a nice Joffrey, though. However,
the namesake of Joffrey, perhaps.
Probably not.
Joffrey. No,
I think it's just like a popular name in Westeros.
Rewind.
Westeros. So she's had 3 sons, but they're not. Alicent's not having it because she knows that these sons are not the children of Rhaenyra's husband, who is Laenor Velaryon.
Scandal.
Laenor is a gay man, and they don't really interact with each other. She has her own liaison with Harwin Strong. It's never explicitly said by her, but the show makes it abundantly clear.
Sure.
Harwin Strong is the father of her 3 children. But she has a story and she's sticking to it. Her and Laenor and everyone else are like, these are legitimate children. Except her husband, Laenor, is a black man with silver hair. She is a white woman with gold, the Targaryen white hair.
Sure. Something's not adding up.
These children are all white with brown hair and they look like their dad.
Yeah.
And that's a whole issue. Alicent Hightower and her dad Otto are pushing Viserys to disinherit Rhaenyra and name Aegon as the heir, like the trueborn heir. Viserys at this time is like, no. And he makes the entire realm. Well, this happens when she was younger, but the entire realm swears to honor his wish that Rhaenyra is going to succeed him. That's the important bit. So we now at this point, Viserys is ill. He's got some kind of wasting disease.
Oh my God, does he ever?
He's fallen apart, quite literally.
Before our eyes. Oh, poor Patty.
Poor Patty. God. And that was the one thing I know he had to die. It had to be the inciting incident, but he was so good.
That slow crawl up to the throne.
That's probably my favorite scene of the whole first season.
Just incredible.
Yeah. So it's getting really dicey.
Yeah.
And there's another time jump where Rhaenyra is now married to good old problematic fave Uncle Daemon, because this is the Targaryens. They marry each other.
Right.
I don't even like saying this.
And he's a bit of a wild card.
He is a wild card.
We know to expect the unexpected to him.
Yes.
He is the person who rolls up their sleeves and does the dirty work.
Yeah.
And takes pleasure in it.
Oh yeah, he murders his first wife to basically be able to marry Rhaenyra.
To be able to marry his cousin. His niece.
And which is even grosser. And those 2 actors, there's that scene where they're in the brothel.
I mean,
and they have such good chemistry and it's hot.
Great chemistry.
And
there.
I'm like, why do I want to root for an uncle?
There's
and
great
niece?
chemistry. Hey, there was great chemistry between Cersei and
Jaime.
Her brother and old.
That was hot, but it's gross. So they have now married, and it's just very sharply divided. Viserys is hanging on by his few fingers he has left. And Alicent calls like a big meeting in the throne room, and they're calling her out. They're like, hey, you cannot be the ruler because you have 3 bastard children.
Right.
And that's when Daemon cuts off the head of that one guy, which is sick.
Yeah.
And Viserys pulls his ass. They're drugging him, by the way. With milk of the poppy. He pulls his ass out of bed with a knife.
Yeah.
And he slow crawls up to the throne and is basically like, y'all got something to say? And Rhaenyra, she's crying, basically. It's great. It's awesome.
I mean, he puts on a good front and, he says what he needs to say. He claims her on his deathbed and asks everyone to honor his wishes. But the king passes.
Well,
and with him, his wishes.
Well, because on his deathbed, he's so disoriented and he's trying to tell he's trying to tell
Rhaenyra's.
Alicent, because Alicent's with him when he dies.
Right.
And he's trying to tell her about Aegon's prophecy about like protecting everybody from the White Walkers. He keeps saying Aegon. Well, Alicent hears it as, oh, you want Aegon to be the king.
Right.
Great.
She heard what she wanted to hear.
She heard what she wanted to hear.
And she took that and ran with it.
Yeah.
Of course, no one else heard it.
No one else heard it.
And his daughter, Rhaenyra, knows what he's talking about because he's mentioned the prophecy to her before, correct? Because he thinks that he's talking to her.
He tells Rhaenyra that it's, there's a threat from the north that's going to come at some point, basically. Right. And she has to be like, they are the protectors of the realm.
Right. So he passes, and basically his daughter gets the message that she needs to leave.
Well, because they immediately start locking the fucking castle down and locking shit up, and
she's like, "Hey, I got to get myself and my family out of here."
No, she's she's gone. They're on Dragonstone because she's about to give birth.
They were already banished.
No, they left because she's married to Daemon at this point.
Right.
They come back to present to like see Viserys because her and Daemon have 2 children at this point. They've got Viserys and Aegon. Everybody's got the same name. Mm-hmm. And she's pregnant. Right. So they go back to Dragonstone, which is her castle. There's a moment before Viserys dies of reconciliation, but then it all gets fucked up at the dinner.
Yeah.
Because Viserys's children with Alicent, Aegon and Aemond,
what a dinner,
fight with Viserys. I'm sorry, they fight with Jacaerys and Lucerys, Rhaenyra's children with Harwin Strong, and it's just so tense and so uncomfortable. And all sides have been raised to believe that this is their right to be rulers.
And is this the dinner where Aemon loses his eye?
No, he's already lost it at this point. Yeah. Fuck. I know there's so much that happens. It's hard to talk about.
Okay.
Aemon, though, we'll get to Aemon because it's how the first season ends. But so yes, they leave. Rhaenyra, Daemon, their children, they go all to Dragonstone, and then Viserys dies, and so she's out of King's Landing at this point. And the Queen, Alicent, everybody starts locking shit down. They're like, hey, Viserys said this to me. And there's a lot of people who are like, wait a second. No, he literally made the entire realm swear to protect Rhaenyra's birthright. Anybody that speaks up, her homeboy, Criston Cole, is fucking taking him out. That guy, he's an interesting, we can't even get into everybody, but Criston Cole, he and Rhaenyra slept together. He wanted them to run away together when they were children. And she was like, no, this was fun, but and he's been harboring a grudge ever since. So now in King's Landing, Alicent, they're the Greens because that is her high tower color. They have proclaimed Aegon the king. On Dragonstone, Rhaenyra has had a stillbirth of a daughter. Mm-hmm. She is pronounced queen by people on Dragonstone, and they are the Blacks, and the lines have been drawn. Everybody's got dragons. On the black side, there is Syrax, which is Rhaenyra's dragon, Caraxes. All 3 of her boys have dragons. They're smaller. Mm-hmm. And on the other side, Aegon has a dragon called Sunfire, which we haven't really seen. It's supposed to be a beautiful dragon. Dreamcatcher, Helena has a dragon, and then Aemond has a dragon, but it is the biggest dragon alive and the oldest and meanest in Westeros. Yeah, so
not the dragon that you want him to have.
No. So Aemond rides Vhagar, who was one of the 3 dragons who came over with the original Targaryens a long, long time ago. She's old, she's mean, she didn't fuck around, which this is how the first season ends, with everybody sending out emissaries to get the 7 kingdoms and all the lords and ladies to swear fealty to either Aegon or Rhaenyra.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the Starks, the Valerians, and what are the other houses that have all sworn their allegiance that she mentions in the last episode?
The Starks have not. She sends Jacaerys to the Starks to earn it.
Oh, I thought that they had, but she was sending them out to make sure that they were going to remain loyal.
Potentially, I don't know if they've sworn, but
okay,
maybe. Yeah, I can't. We could get into like who sworn who, but anyway. She decides at the end to send Jacaerys to the north, the Starks. She sends Lucerys to the Baratheons at Storm's End. However, someone else has been sent to Storm's End. Vhagar. Aemond and Vhagar. And Aemon, he's played by Ewan Mitchell, who is a great actor. He was in a great show that I loved on Netflix called The Last Kingdom. If you haven't watched it, I think you should. My husband and I were obsessed with. Ewan Mitchell is just so deliciously evil in this show. He is like,
Yeah, he's relishing this role. He and Matt Smith both.
And I can't wait to see them face off. I won't get into it, but they will face off.
Nice.
And yeah, Ewan Mitchell plays Aemon. He sees Lucerys land on Storm's End. And you already know this is not going to be good. Like Lucerys's dragon is...
It's stormy.
Yeah.
There's this beautiful scene where he gets off his dragon and he's walking toward the front door of the castle. And you see a lightning strike that lights up the sky. And behind one of the castle walls, you see this magnificent and also very, very large and disturbing dragon, which is Vhagar. And you can sense the fear even in this young prince. He knows like, oh shit, someone else is here.
Yeah. And there's a moment, I think the actor that plays Lucerys is like, maybe I should hop back on this dragon and tootle out. And they do a good job of, he's younger than Aemond, like by a couple years. Aemond is tall and he's got this long blonde hair and he's got the eye patch and he looks scary. He's trained. He's really good with weapons. Lucerys is young. He looks like a kid. He's trying to go in and his like cape is flopping all over the place. And
he's a very sweet prince as well. He refers to his mother as mom and not as the queen. Yeah. And so there's a little bit of that attachment there. They really set this up as he's leaving is like, he may not make it back. And he doesn't.
I remember watching this and like looking over. Did we watch this last one together? I was like, I know what's going to happen. And it's sad. So yeah, this season 1 ends. There's a confrontation at Storm's End and the Lord of Storm's End's basically like, he's a, macho kind of guy, doesn't want to give his loyalty to Rhaenyra. She slighted him years ago. We're not going to get into all that. And it basically ends with he's like, all right, I'm out. And Aemon decides to get on his dragon and pursue him. And
I think just to rib him a little bit, to scare him.
Yeah.
But when the smaller dragon takes a swipe at the larger dragon, then Aemon can no longer control his dragon and all bets are off.
Yeah.
Starts a snowball of a larger war that's brewing.
Right. And this is really the inciting incident for the war because they're in the air. And like you mentioned, the cinematography is so good for, they're not really on dragons. And I know. Wow. Sorry. Spoiler alert.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the mystery out of it all.
But yeah, and it's storming. So it's like rainy and dark and you see flashes. There's that one scene of Jacob on his dragon and then you just see the shadow of Vhagar over him.
Just to get a sense of the scale and the difference of these two dragons.
Yeah. And you think he's gotten away because they're going back and forth and
he makes his way up into like above the clouds.
Yeah. And Aemon's been taunting him. Yeah. Then Vhagar goes for the kill.
Vhagar comes in and just snaps the smaller dragon in half and takes the kid with him.
And the dragon and body parts, everything starts falling. And there's a look on Aemon's face because he tries to stop it.
He knows. Yeah.
Which is interesting because in the book, they make it pretty clear as far that he was like, bye. Mm-hmm. I do like it because there are flashes in this show of like what could have been. They're all around the same age. They could have been a family, but they were all, especially the green side, were so brainwashed.
Right.
To believe and all the bad, but I'm sure he's going to take full responsibility for it and like brag about it. But
sure,
it's interesting that they let us into
I do like the sneak peek behind like maybe what might have been going on in his mind, which makes it a bit more like, okay, well, I didn't necessarily mean for this to happen, but you're also guilty by egging this on.
Right.
So you are responsible.
Yeah.
And he's going to take full responsibility for it and try to claim, it was his idea.
Yeah.
That it was intentional, when we know as viewers that maybe it wasn't.
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe
But it happened either way.
It happened, and now
So,
there's no going back.
No going back. And that's kind of about how it ends. Well, I guess it ends with her getting the news.
And Emma Darcy's
from Damon. And
face.
by the way, where was he?
He was with her.
When the princes were sent out. Why wasn't he sent? Where did he go? He was on some other errand.
I think they wanted to. I'd have to rewatch. I think he wanted to go, but the princes were like, "Let us go, because you need dragon riders. You need Damon here with you." Like, I can't remember, but they insisted on going because she didn't want to let them go.
I thought that Damon, Matt Smith, had been sent off on another errand, or sent himself on another errand. I was wondering,
I can't remember.
Where is he? What's he scheming up to while these two are getting...
We can talk off mic about how that's going to go.
Gotcha. Okay,
but no, and
such a poignant scene when he arrives to the war room and has to deliver this message to her in front of the fireplace with her back to the camera.
And it's all silent. You don't hear what he says. Mm-hmm. She turns in her face. Ooh, Emma Darcy, they are such a good actor.
So good.
That's how it ends. So first season ends with her getting the news that Lucerys is dead. There's going to be no reconciliation at this point.
Okay.
So,
Jenny,
Ryan,
what are you most excited about
for season 2?
For season 2.
Are we spoiling anything? Do you want to be spoiled or no?
Sure.
Are you sure? Because I don't.
Sure.
Okay. So there's going to be a big battle called the Battle of the God's Eye.
Ooh.
And it's between Damon and Aemond.
Ooh.
And nobody makes it out.
Nice.
So it's between Caraxi.
With their dragons. Ooh, even better. Okay, so that's going to be a big scene. Do you think that's going to be early on, mid-season, or penultimate? Think they're going to save it till the end?
I think people love Matt Smith and Ewan Mitchell.
They're going to take it to the end.
I think it's going to be in the story. It's also towards the end. Mm-hmm. He and Rhaenyra are going to be separated. Yeah. He goes to Man Harrenhal. He takes up with Nettles. Well, he does in the books. We'll see what happens. Nettles is a dragon seed. She rides a wild dragon. Ooh. They have a liaison. Wow. Yeah, which I'm sure Rhaenyra is not going to be happy about.
Ooh,
and I'm just really excited to see the Battle of the God's Eye. That's got to be probably towards the end for sure. And it's like an intense battle where Damon jumps off his dragon and stabs Aemond in the head. It's but he's also been stabbed. It's and they both die, and the dragons die.
Okay.
So that's what I'm looking forward to. What are you looking forward to?
Wow. I was going to say that I was looking forward to more of the rich, lore, and complex characters of George R.R. Martin.
So sorry.
But I'm excited now to see that scene, see what else is going on.
I'm really.
That's great. That's fantastic. You're much more. You've read the books. I've not read the books. So I'm coming at it as a fan who's just excited to see these characters back.
Yeah.
And see any new characters that there might be introduced. I think you mentioned a couple of characters that are coming into the show. Are they going to be replacing Matt Smith and others as far as screen time?
I don't know how they're going to do it. I doubt it because, again, the fans love Matt Smith. Yeah. And they love Ewan Mitchell. Yeah. So they're going to keep them, I think, as prevalent as possible. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. There have been no announcements, so this is literally nonsense from my brain.
Okay.
If they drag out season 2 to where we get the Battle of the God's Eye, all the big finishing stuff
building up to
next season. And season 3.
Oh, don't do that to us.
I hope they don't, because that's a mistake Game of Thrones made. They drug it out.
Yeah. They lost people.
They lost their damn minds on that show.
Okay. What are some of your favorite character arcs that you're looking forward to seeing back in season 2? Or continue?
So
Rhaenyra would be at the top of my list.
The Queen Who Never Was?
Yes.
So, we didn't really get to talk about it too much, but she busts out with her dragon.
Yeah.
And she's ready to fucking rumble.
So she witnessed the crowning of the king. Mm-hmm. She's the cousin of the queen. And, right? Aunt, cousin, whatever. related.
Yeah.
And
She's
so
Targaryen.
So last season, she flies back to deliver the news that the Hightowers have declared themselves as the ruling team.
That they crowned Aegon.
Right. And
He's
did
such a
so
little
in a
punk.
very public ceremony. And they're like, well, why didn't you blast everyone away? You had your dragon. And she's like, well, kind of figured like I needed to come tell you.
Okay,
what's going on here?
That didn't happen in the books.
Oh.
And that is a choice that makes no sense. It's baffling.
Okay.
If you were right there, blast those motherfuckers. Blast them. That makes that there's no...
Dany would have.
Rhaenyra would have.
For sure.
Or if you think the situation were reversed, if it was Rhaenyra being crowned, they would absolutely blast her.
Yeah.
And, you know, in the behind the scenes, Eve Best, I think, gave an interview where she said it was Alicent stepping in front of Aegon that stopped her from blasting. I'm like, but you know this is going to end in fire and blood.
Sure.
End it now.
Right.
Before more people.
But she's like, hey, I got to come back and let you know and let you make the next move.
But she also is going to go down fighting.
Cool. Okay, cool. What about Rhaenyra?
I'm just excited to see Emma Darcy get to really get into some good stuff. They're an amazing actor, as I said. And they're so like, you can't, whenever Rhaenyra is on screen, I can't look at anyone else.
Right. And
just to save confusion, I understand Emma Darcy uses they, them pronouns.
Okay.
But when I'm speaking about the character, I'm going to say she and her.
Sure.
So I don't want to come off disrespecting Emma Darcy. Sometimes it may cross over. I'm just, saying that. But
I think Rhaenyra is such a fascinating character.
She is.
Her struggle for power in the male-dominated society is both, I think, relatable to a lot of women these days, and also just riveting. I think the character, the way that it's written. Yeah,
she's great. I'm excited to. Excited's not the right word. I'm interested to see what happens with old Kristen Cole.
Who's that?
He's the hot guy he's in the King's Guard, the Queen's Guard, and he's with Alicent.
That's his character name, or that's his
Kristen Cole. His real name is Fabian Frankel. He's hot. Respectfully.
I see it. Got it.
And you remember that scene where they go undercover and he's wearing that stupid beanie?
Okay.
They're like trying to find Aegon in the city.
Yes.
He's wearing that stupid beanie as his disguise.
I've forgotten about that character.
Yeah, and they're kind of teasing us a little bit with, is he in love with Alicent? Are they going to consummate something? Okay. Very interesting.
This was her Kingsguard.
So that he was Rhaenyra's shield.
He stepped up as the knight, right?
Yeah, he was Rhaenyra's chosen shield.
Okay. And
then they had the falling out because they have sex when they're teenagers. Yeah. And he's like, let's run away together. And she says,
I'm going to go sleep with my brother.
Uncle,
whatever.
And
Targaryen.
Yeah, Targaryens. And then he aligns himself with Alicent.
Okay, right.
And so I'm interested to see where he's going to go. And so I'm also excited for Helena. Helena is the daughter of Viserys and Alicent, and she's got precognition. Mm-hmm. She's the bug girl, and she's always speaking in riddles. But she sees things before they happen.
There's always that one weird character that's like connected to the crows.
This is her. Oh. She's gonna have her arc is devastating.
Really?
Oh yeah. So
does she get pushed out of a tree and then eventually wind up the head of the Seven Kingdoms?
It's a tower, first of all.
Sure. Tight.
The story of Brad and the Broken. God damn it. Okay, so no, it's worse actually. So as you might recall, Helena and Aegon, her older brother, are married. They have 3 children. I'm not sure if they have 3 in the show, if they've just condensed it to 2. They've got 3 children. And she is one evening is accosted by in the palace by 2 murderers called Blood and Cheese. And they have her children, and they say you have to choose which one gets to live and which one gets to die.
Whoa. Are they sent by someone, or are they just sinister individuals? We don't
It's never explicitly said, but it is heavily implied. Damon, this is retaliation for Luke.
You sound like assassins.
Yes.
Okay.
And she makes the choice, like, I'm gonna fuck it up. let's say she chooses
one of them.
She chooses one of them. Well, they kill the other one.
Right.
So the other one has to live with the fact that his mother chose him to die.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And she lives.
She does. And she basically goes catatonic and insane.
Wow.
It's really sad.
That would be very sad.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how they're going to do that scene. Okay. But I think it's a great show. I hope they don't go the way of Game of Thrones because
George is more involved in this one though, right?
He is. They're sticking a little bit more closely to the source material.
Good.
This is a finished story, whereas Game of Thrones, the show outpaced the books. So that was not the fault of the show, but they just really fumbled the bag with Game of Thrones. And I hope they don't do it here because the first season is so strong.
They have everything that they need to know. They're not winging it.
No.
As they were, so to speak. Okay, let's talk visuals.
Okay.
The production quality of House of the Dragon has always been top notch.
Mm-hmm.
The trailers look like the new season looks stunning.
Stunning.
As I say. So I think the cinematography is going to be breathtaking again.
I think so too.
I think we're going to see bigger dragons, more dragons, different dragons. No?
Yeah, we will.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the impact of Game of Thrones on the pop culture, do you think?
I mean, I think it's a phenomenon. It's in the pop culture lexicon. You know what I mean? It's people, when Game of Thrones, the show was coming out, I feel like it was maybe season 2 or 3 when it was like, it really hit.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about it.
Oh, sure.
Couldn't get on social media without seeing it. The red wedding scene. There were reaction videos to people watching the red wedding. And
still are, like TikTok. It's a trend that people are still finally getting around to watching the red weddings. Like, shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
I love them.
I think it's just embedded in the pop culture lexicon, everything, because even people who never watched it, they know Game of Thrones, they know House of the Dragon. And I think it's great. I love the world of Westeros. I would like more. There's other stuff allegedly in development in this world, and I really cannot wait to watch season 2. We're going to do a little bit of a watch party with some pals.
I'm excited about that.
You know, there's a House of the Dragon wine at our local grocery store. It's great.
I'll let you try it. Let me know.
I will. Before we sign off, I have one question for you.
Yeah, go ahead. If I was a dragon, which dragon would I be?
Yes. I like to surprise you with these. Who was your favorite house on Game of Thrones?
Oh,
okay. House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones.
I'm going to get this wrong, so you have to correct me before I give my statement. Okay. So, from the first season, it would definitely be House Tyrell from Highgarden.
Oh, Marjorie Tyrell is very your type.
Love her as a character.
Natalie Dormer is a great actress.
You know, she's from a very important house, a house that is very respectable for their customs, their traditions, their manners.
They're very chivalric.
Exactly. Yeah. And but at the same time, they can cut pretty close when they need to, and they can handle their business. So I love that house. But you know, when I first started Game of Thrones, I was so captivated by the character of Ned Stark.
Sean Bean.
In such a short period of time, he just took you in, and you immediately, all of the Starks, the entire Stark family, including Lady Stark, R.I.P.
Michelle Fairley. She was. The casting was amazing.
In this season, I think it would be the Valyrians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With the white hair.
Oh yeah.
Love the characters and the actors that are playing this Steve Toussaint.
He is so good.
He plays Lord Valerian.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And he's married to Rhaenys, the queen who never was.
Which I think that their chemistry as a couple is phenomenal on screen. Both of them are brilliant actors. So I'm loving what's going on here. Of course, I love the battle between the Targaryens and the Hightowers that is brewing. But yeah, these are my favorite. Are we going to see Graham McTavish back, or is he gone?
I hope we see him. They didn't kill him. That's another thing that was questionable. They just let him leave.
Yeah.
They should have killed him.
he's such a strong actor. It's like you got to bring him back, right? He's just meandering
so
in the world
good.
of Westeros.
He's probably going to make his way over to Dragonstone and to Rhaenyra's cause. I hope so.
That's the one question that I really have, because he's
Yeah.
such a standout actor. It's like, what's he up to?
I loved him as Dougal Mackenzie in Outlander
Yes.
so much. Almost named my dog Goldberg. We almost named him Dougal from that show.
He's a doodle.
He's a doodle. Well, I always
What
loved
about you?
House Stark.
Oh yes, House Stark.
The North, from the North. I loved Robb Stark. Hot.
Did you?
Jon Snow.
Did you?
Hot. Sansa, Arya. I liked Bran before he became king of Westeros. Rickon, like I love the arcs in the books.
The Stark family, yeah.
They're amazing. I also love, they haven't really done them justice on the show too much, but House Martell. So like it's polar opposites. The Starks are the farthest north.
Okay.
Dorne, House Martell is the southern part of Westeros.
Oh.
This is where our boy Pedro Pascal as Oberyn comes from.
Yeah.
The women there can rule. They're they're much more free thinking, like liberal sexually with their clothing.
Love it.
It just looks like a fun time to go to Dorne. So I would say House Stark and House Martell are my faves.
Okay. As a Tyrell, can I visit?
Absolutely.
House Martell?
Absolutely.
Great. I'll be there.
Okay.
In Dorne?
Dorne.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is there to do in Dorne?
It's really sandy. It's really hot. So they have water gardens.
Yeah.
There's like splash pads. I think you like eat good food and drink wine and brothels. Okay.
All right, Jenny.
All right. That was makes me think of South Park.
All right, Jenny, what else are you into this week?
I'm into the Disrespectfully podcast.
Oh, what is this?
Hosted by Dayna, Kathan, and Katie Maloney.
Tell me.
So, as you know, I am a Vanderpump person. Vanderpump Rules.
What is that?
Reality show on Bravo. Yeah, after Scandival, like a lot of people, I got into Vanderpump Rules. I'd never seen it before last year, and it has been a journey. And Dayna, Kathan, and Katie Maloney were both on Vanderpump Rules. Dayna Kathan was on season 8. Loved her immediately. Katie Maloney has been on every single season, and she's amazing.
These people worked at the restaurant.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir. Yes. And they have a podcast together, which is hysterical. Their energy is so fun.
Oh.
And they talk about stuff that I'm super interested in, just being a woman, the patriarchy, fun, stupid shit we all get into, making fun of yourselves. And, Dayna is very vocal about how she only did one season of Vanderpump because it was not good for her mental health.
Good.
She is very vocal on grief and loss. She lost her mother to cancer at a young age. She's openly bisexual and talks about that a lot. Katie, again, is a Vanderpump OG, was married to Tom Schwartz. And she had a bit of a journey, but she is having like a renaissance in her life right now. I don't know these people personally. Okay. Her style is fucking cool. They're just fucking cool. And do you remember on TikTok where you were like, why is Girthmaster showing up on our algorithm? I was listening to Disrespectfully, and they were talking about Girthmaster. I'm not going to get into who Girthmaster is here, but you can listen to Disrespectfully or look it up, but not safe for work is all I'm going to say.
Once more, contains adult content.
Ding. But yeah, they're just cool chicks. Yeah. Love their style, love their content. It's a fun listen. And sure, they talk about like behind the scenes VPR stuff that I'm interested in as a fan of the show, but they just seem like cool people I'd love to sit and have, a glass of wine or a shot of tequila with. So it's Disrespectfully Podcast, wherever you find podcasts.
Great.
Monsieur.
That's it.
What are you into this week?
I think that's it.
That's it? Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm into Girthmaster.
Are we going to just outro? No Unhinged, do you think?
Do you have anything Unhinged this week?
No, off the top of my head.
Fun summer.
And then we're going to have to come back after we've watched House of the Dragon. So
we will.
Hot nerd summer.
Nerd out
Hot
with us this
nerd
summer. Unhinged on Wednesdays.
It is, and we're probably gonna do maybe a little fun Pride themed episode. We talk about some of our favorite, books, movies, all related to Pride Month.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm in.
I thought I had that conversation in my head.
She's trying to put me on the spot.
Johnny on the spot.
Thank you for tuning into Once More Unhinged. These episodes, again, come out every Wednesday, and be sure to check back for our latest episodes of Once More, a Rewatch podcast on Fridays.
Yay!
Be sure to follow us at Once More Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and the Once More Pod on Tinder. Just kidding. The Once More Pod on X.
And I'm gonna go hop on my dragon and get out of here. I'm Jen Katz.
And I'm writing something.
Bye.